social media has the potential to light up the mind like a hardcore drug. So what happens when the optics get fuzzy and you find yourself overliked? Take a look.
Rob Singleton is lead pastor of the Summit Church near Denver. He believes that social media has many upsides, as well as a potential danger.
Because the quest for affirmation and the game of people-pleasing has crossed the threshold for millions upon millions of people all over the world, where we're now living in the age of narcissism.
In his new book, Overliked, Pastor Rob explains how we can use social media for much good by keeping it in its place.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Rob Singleton. Rob, great to have you with us today.
Thanks, Terry. Great to be here.
In this book that you've written, I want to talk with you a little bit about why most social media users are so obsessed with likes.
You know, it's become the new currency of worth is what I think has happened. You know, I think maybe 20 years ago, they were really pushing self-esteem and that we had to have greater self-esteem. And I think you can take that and put it on steroids now with not only are we being taught to feel better about ourselves, but it's kind of morphed into we need to almost worship ourselves. And so now with the addition of social media, we get these very quick dopamine hits. We get these thumbs up or these smiley faces or these heart emojis. And listen, it's not Christians just talking about this. Secular psychologists are beginning to see that the reaction is very similar. I really appreciated that last segment you had with Josh and the struggle and his overcoming the drug addictions and all. But the new drug addiction, honestly, is social media and the dopamine hits we get from likes and affirmation we were never meant to receive that way.
So your new book is entitled Overliked. What does it mean to you to be overliked?
Well, I mean, it's not a threshold. It's not really, you know, on the whole nuclear code thing, when there's danger, they have these little DEFCON things. We live in DEFCON 1 most times. That means we live at peace. At DEFCON 3, it means nations are starting to get worried. And DEFCON 4 and 5, maybe a weapon has been launched. So it's not like there's DEFCON 4 or overliked level 4, and now you've crossed the line and you're overliked. And it's not even, you know, 10,000 likes is overliked on Instagram or Facebook or something. Honestly, I've seen people who have such envy or jealousy as they go online and see somebody else. It could be that just one person liked them and they realize they put so much stock in that makes them have more worth, that makes them get excited, that makes them react, honestly, in a way that we weren't supposed to react except to God. So it's really putting likes in the reaction of people to a lot of times the fake optics that we put out there, and it's putting that on the throne of our heart instead of Jesus Christ. And it's very, very dangerous to do that.
Well, millennials seem to be the group that use all of this the most. What do you think the real danger social media presents for them is?
Well, I mean, one of the biggest dangers is that we don't think it's a danger.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest problems is we sit there and we think it's harmless. And listen, technology is great. I'm not suggesting we go back to the days of Downton Abbey, very nostalgic and very nice, but that ship has sailed. And I love the fact that we can use technology to, you know, leverage it and reach the world for Jesus Christ. But it can become a pathway, honestly, away from God. And it's such a powerful trick that it's really the same one that Satan's been using since the garden. When you think about it, he used this conversation with Adam and Eve to say that, listen, you don't have to worship God, worship yourself. And you know, like yourself, make it all about yourself. And the problem now is that we're able to do that. We live in a kind of a microwave generation where we want what we want and we want it now. We used to be more of a crockpot culture that could wait for things a little bit. But with social media now, this whole really bad idea. Listen, we weren't created to carry the weight of worship. Only God can carry the weight of worship. So when we go after that in the form of followers or likes or anything like that too much, and we cross a threshold, we're honestly setting up on our Facebooks or Instagrams little shrines, little worship centers. And So listen, when I'm addressing this problem, I don't come right out and say, you have a problem with self-worship, because people will immediately back off and say, that's ridiculous. That's extreme. I don't worship myself. So that's why I've titled it Overliked, because that's a way to kind of sneak up on the subject and get people to see that which you thought was harmless is really becoming a huge problem, because it's redirecting something that God alone deserves to yourself.
Well, all of mankind, I think, is searching for self-worth, self-esteem, some, personal adulation. How do parents help their children loosen the grip of social media? Because that need for affirmation is probably never stronger than when we're kids growing up going through the difficulty of that.
You know what? I think a lot of parents are not going to want to hear this, but I need to be real blunt about this. I would say you help your kids to loosen their grip on this by loosening yours first. Yeah. Because if we look back at, listen, I did a segment on Proverbs 31, and I think they were surprised, a devotional with them, and they were surprised by the reaction of how many people. First of all, there was a huge reaction of people who said, this is a huge issue. But most of the parents and grandparents were saying, I can't wait to get this book for my kids. Can't wait to get this book for my grandkids. And I thought, that's great, and they need it, but you do too. I know they were born, with a device in their hands practically. But for those of us that are a little bit older, it's almost more of a temptation, because it's like a shiny new object that we're still, fascinated by, and we can get caught up in it and not even realize it. So in the book, there's a section in the back called the Love Reboot. It's a 21-day kind of prayer and fasting thing that I would suggest take your kids or grandkids, whatever, through that, but take them through that with you. Yeah. I mean, offer to do this book with them, not just hand them a book and say, hey, good luck with this. You have a problem, I don't.
Well, I think that's the scary part of it all, is it can sneak up on you, and often we are looking at the issue in someone else's life, but not our own. Rob's book is called Overliked. It's a book for the day that we live in. I don't know, when that time frame comes up on my phone that tells me how long I've been on it, sometimes it scares me. Rob's book is available wherever books are sold. I think we all need to read this and get our priorities back in order. Thanks, Rob, so much for being with us.